Have you ever been humiliated because of money? Have you ever heard from someone of your own family, of your own blood, that you were not going to make it, that you were a failure? Have you ever felt that tightness in the chest when someone looked at you from top to bottom because of your bank account, the car you drive, the house where you live? If you have already gone through this, stay here now, because what I'm going to reveal to you in this video will completely change the way you view everything that happened to you. That person who humiliated you, who threw in your face that you had nothing, who made you feel small in front of others, they do not know it, but they have just activated one of the most powerful spiritual laws that exist, and this law does not fail. It works like an invisible gear, silent but absolutely precise. Today, here now, you will understand why the financial situation of the one who belittled you is about to be exposed before everyone. It is not revenge, it is spiritual justice, and God is in control of it. Before anything else, I need you to understand a truth that most people ignore. When someone humiliates you because of money, that person is not just offending you. They are planting a spiritual seed, and every seed generates a harvest. This is not superstition. This is a principle that spans millennia, which is recorded in the scriptures and which modern science itself begins to recognize in studies on emotional cause and effect, on what researchers call behavioral karmic return. Think with me. How many times did you remain silent in the face of an offense? How many times did you swallow your tears in the bathroom after a family gathering where someone diminished you? How many times did you work 12, 14 hours a day and still heard that it was not enough? I know it hurts. I know it leaves a mark. But what you perhaps do not know is that each of these humiliations has a spiritual weight, and this weight does not remain suspended in the air. It returns. It always returns. The Bible says in Galatians chapter 6, verse 7, "Be not deceived, for whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap." This is not a pretty phrase to put in a frame on the living room wall. This is a law as real as gravity. You do not need to believe in gravity to fall if you jump from a building. In the same way, whoever plants financial humiliation does not need to believe in spiritual return to reap the consequences. And do you know what is strongest in all of this? The person who humiliated you probably thinks they are on top. They probably walk with a puffed-out chest, showing what they have, exhibiting achievements. But there is something they do not see. There is a crack forming beneath all of that. A crack that does not appear in Instagram stories, that does not appear in travel photos, that does not appear in the new car, but it is there, growing, silently. And here I need to make an important pause with you, because if you have reached this point in the video, I need to be honest. Something very strong is happening at this exact moment in your spiritual life. You did not open this video by accident. There is a restlessness within you that cannot be explained with logic, an anguish that appears without reason, a feeling that you need to do something, but you do not know exactly what. Perhaps you have felt this in the last few weeks. A pressure in the chest that is not of the body, a weight that is not of the mind. It is something deeper. It is something of the soul. And this discomfort you feel carries a message that few can decipher alone. Most people spend their entire lives ignoring this calling. They continue on automatic, distracting themselves with work, with series, with social media. But not you. You stopped here. And that says a lot about who you are on the spiritual plane. There is an enormous responsibility on your shoulders, a responsibility that involves your family, the protection of your own, and the course of your destiny. That is why I prepared the powerful digital book for you, Manual of the Chosen by God to Protect the Family. This material was created for those who feel this calling and need to understand what is happening with clarity. The link is here in the description and in the pinned comments. Thousands of people have already accessed it and reported real transformations in their spiritual and financial lives. But I need to warn you, this content will not be available forever. If you are feeling something now, do not delay. Go there, access the link, and then come back here to continue. And if this message made sense to you, comment below, "I accept my calling." This comment is more than words. It is a spiritual declaration. Now, returning to what we were discussing, let us go deeper. Why is financial karma so precise? Why does it seem to take time, But when it arrives in a way that everyone sees. There is a concept in behavioral psychology called accumulation of invisible consequences. It is when a person acts in a certain way repeatedly, without apparent consequence, until one day everything collapses at once. It is like a dam. The water keeps accumulating. The wall seems firm, seems resistant, but there is a breaking point. And when it breaks, there is no way to hold it back. With the person who humiliated you financially, exactly this happens. Each time they diminished you, they added more pressure to their own dam. Each laugh they gave at your situation, each comment they made about what you did not have, each look of superiority, all of this was accumulating on their side, not yours. You might be thinking, but this person continues to be well, continues to have money, continues living as if nothing were going to happen. I understand. It seems unfair. It seems that the world works in reverse. But it is exactly here that most people give up on believing in spiritual justice. They look at the present moment and think that is the final picture. But it is not. That is only the intermission. And I need to tell you something that will make you see from a completely new angle. Have you ever noticed that the people who most humiliate others for money are almost always the most financially insecure? It seems contradictory, I know. But it is not. Whoever is at peace with their own money does not feel the need to use it as a weapon. Whoever flaunts too much is compensating for an internal void. And this void, sooner or later, swallows everything. It swallows the account balance, it swallows the assets, it swallows the appearances. It is only a matter of time. I will give you a real example, without names but real. A man from a city in the interior of Minas Gerais, a worker, father of 3 children, was going through a difficult phase. He had lost his job, was doing odd jobs, selling pamonha at his doorstep to support his family. The brother-in-law, who owned a dealership, would go every Sunday to have lunch at the mother-in-law's house and made a point of commenting, "When are you going to get a real job?" in front of everyone, in front of his children. The wife asked the brother-in-law to stop, but he thought it was funny. He said it was a joke. 3 years later, this man who sold pamonha managed to get a small loan, opened a food distribution company, and today employs more than 40 people. The brother-in-law? He lost the dealership due to tax debt, had his assets blocked, and today depends on the mother-in-law to pay the bills. No one planned this, no one did witchcraft work, nothing. Life turned, karma turned, and it turned in front of everyone, exactly as the scriptures promise. Proverbs chapter 16, verse 18, "Pride goeth before destruction, and an haughty spirit before a fall." This is not theory. It is a portrait. It is a spiritual photograph of what happens to those who use money as a weapon to hurt others. And if you are here listening to this, I need to remind you of something important. Subscribe to the channel now, hit the bell, and like this video, because this type of content changes the lives of people who, just like you, need to hear this truth. When you like it, the algorithm takes this video to more people who are in need. You are not just pressing a button, you are opening a door for someone who is at the bottom of the pit right now. Now let us go to the second level of this revelation, because financial karma does not act only on the bank account, it acts on the soul, and that is where things get really serious. When a person uses money as an instrument of humiliation, they create what the ancients called a debt of the soul. It is not a debt paid with PIX, with transfer, with a check. It is a debt that collects in peace. It collects in sleep. It collects in emotional health. It collects in relationships. It collects in the children who grow up seeing that behavior and replicate the pattern, perpetuating a cycle of pain. Notice one thing. The person who humiliated you, do they sleep well? Do they have true peace? Do they have healthy relationships? In the overwhelming majority of cases, no. Behind the facade of financial success, there is a void that no luxury fills. There is an anxiety that no medicine completely controls. There is a constant fear of losing everything, and this fear is the first sign of karma acting. Science already documents this. Researchers from the University of Berkeley in the United States published studies showing that people with behavior of financial superiority present significantly higher levels of cortisol, the stress hormone. In other words, biology itself collects. The body knows, the soul knows, only the mind of the person denies it. I want you to think now of a scene. Imagine the Christmas table, or the Sunday barbecue, that environment that should be of peace, of family, of union, but which for you became an emotional battlefield. That place where you felt judged, measured, evaluated by what you had or did not have. How many Sundays did you return home feeling smaller than when you left? How many times did you drive back in silence, with a knot in your throat, while the family slept in the back seat? This pain is real. This pain has a name, this pain has weight, and this pain will be compensated not by me, not by you, but by a force that governs the universe with surgical precision. Each of your tears was accounted for, each silenced sigh was heard, and the answer is arriving. And here I need to be direct with you once more, because what you are feeling now is not common. This emotion that rises, this deep identification with every word, this is the confirmation that this message was prepared for you. And if within you there exists the desire to protect your family, to shield your home spiritually, to understand the mission that weighs on your shoulders, then you need to access now the digital book, Manual of the Chosen by God to Protect the Family. The link is in the description and in the comments. Do not let time pass. Every minute you delay is a minute you could be acting in favor of your destiny. And the most impressive thing of all, while karma acts against those who humiliate, it also acts in favor of those who were humiliated. Yes, there is a positive karma, a spiritual account that is being fed each time you endured with dignity, each time you did not retaliate, each time you got out of bed even without the will and went to work, went to fight, went to put food on your children's table. You did not realize it, but each of these attitudes was recorded, not in an earthly accounting book, in a spiritual record, and this account is about to be released in your life, not when you want it, when it is the right time. And I tell you, the time is very, very near. This weight that you have carried for years, which made you doubt yourself, which made you think that perhaps the person who humiliated you was right, this weight is not the truth. It never was. It was only the darkness before the dawn, and the dawn is arriving. At this exact moment of your life, things are moving in your favor. Doors that seemed welded shut are opening. Opportunities that you cannot even imagine are aligning. And the person who doubted you will watch all of this happen, not because God wants to humiliate them back, but because God wants to honor you before those who doubted. Let us continue, because the third layer of this revelation is the deepest of all, and I need you to be prepared to hear it. When someone humiliates you for money, and you do not retaliate, something extraordinary happens in the spiritual world. You activate a shield that does not protect only you. It protects your house, your children, your entire family. In the biblical tradition, this is called the mantle of protection through meekness. Jesus said, "Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth." Inheriting the earth is not a pretty metaphor. It is a promise of material and spiritual conquest. It is God saying, "Whoever endured with patience will receive double." And do you know what happens when a meek person begins to prosper? The whole world watches, because the prosperity of the humble is silent at the beginning, but then it makes a noise that no one can ignore. It is that person who suddenly is renovating their house, suddenly has a new job, suddenly is opening a business, suddenly has a peace on their face that cannot be explained. And whoever sees from the outside thinks, how is it that this person, who a short time ago had nothing, is now like this? The answer is simple. Positive spiritual karma being deposited into the account of their life. Compound interest of faith. Now pay attention to this part because it is crucial. The exposure of the financial karma of the one who humiliated you is not a revenge that you need to seek. You do not need to do anything. Absolutely nothing. You do not need to send indirect messages. You do not need to post anything on social media. You do not need to confront anyone. The only thing you need to do is continue walking on your journey with faith, with work, with dignity, because what is about to happen will happen naturally. The truth about the financial situation of the one who humiliated you will come to light. Perhaps it is a hidden debt that explodes. Perhaps it is a business that goes wrong because of a wrong decision made in arrogance. Perhaps it is a loss that no one expected, and when that happens, everyone will see. The same relatives who watched your humiliation will watch the fall of the one who offended you, not because you wished for it, but because the spiritual law is exact. It does not miss the address. It does not confuse the recipient. It delivers each package exactly where it should be delivered. And at the same time, your story will change. The prosperity that was verbally denied to you will arrive physically. The respect they took from you in public will be restored in public. The people who saw you on the ground will see you standing, firm, strong, blessed. And they will remember every word they said, not because you are going to throw it in their faces, but because their own conscience will collect. This is karma. This is justice. This is God acting in His time. I need you to understand the greatness of what is happening. You are not a victim. You never were. You are someone who was being prepared. Each humiliation was a brick in the foundation of your fortress. Each tear watered the seed of your victory. Each sleepless night, each dawn of worry, each moment of silent despair, all of this was the price of your transformation. And now the construction is about to be finished, and it will be beautiful. It will be so beautiful that those who doubted will feel ashamed for having doubted. Psalm 37 verse 6. And He shall bring forth thy righteousness as the light and thy judgment as the noonday. Do you understand the power of this promise? It is not a weak little light in a dark corner. It is the noonday sun, the strongest light of the day. Impossible to ignore, impossible to hide, impossible to deny. Every person who diminished you will have to face this light, and they will have to recognize that person who I thought was going to amount to nothing shone brighter than I ever imagined. Now at this moment, I want you to do something for yourself. Close your eyes for 2 seconds, take a deep breath, and repeat within yourself, I am not what they said about me. I am what God says about me. And God says that I am more than a conqueror. Did you feel that? That peace that enters when the truth is declared. Keep that feeling. It is your fuel for the coming days, because the journey continues. And from now on, it continues differently. It continues with purpose. It continues with direction. It continues with the unshakable certainty that what belongs to you cannot be taken by any word of contempt. And if you have reached this far, I need to tell you the final part. The part that will seal everything that was said. The financial karma of the one who humiliated you does not end at exposure. It opens a double door. On one side, the person who sowed humiliation reaps the bitter fruit. On the other side, you, who endured with faith, receive a harvest that will surprise you. It is not about money alone. It is about restored dignity. It is about looking in the mirror and knowing who you are, without depending on anyone's approval. It is about sitting at the same Christmas table and no longer feeling that tightness, because the tightness has changed places. Now the one who feels it is the one who caused it. The prosperity that is coming in your direction is not only material, it is a complete prosperity. It is peace to sleep at night without ruminating over past conversations. It is health to wake up in the morning and feel genuine gratitude. It is love inside the home, without competition, without envy, without power games. It is respect where you step, not because of what you have, but because of who you are. It is the certainty that God never abandoned you, even when it seemed that the whole world had turned its back. I know there are people watching this video now with tears in their eyes. I know there are people who have already thought about giving up on everything, of leaving the job, of closing the business, of stopping trying. I know there are people who carry a pain so great that sometimes they cannot even explain it to others, because they are afraid of being judged again. But I need to tell you, you are stronger than you imagine. And the proof of that is that you are still here, still standing, still fighting, still seeking. After everything they did to you, after everything they said to you, you are still here. This is not luck, this is purpose. And this search is not in vain. Everything you went through has a purpose greater than you can see now. Each door closed in your face, each no that you heard, each laugh they made of you, all of this is part of a plan that you cannot see in its entirety now, but that is being drawn with perfection. And when the picture is complete, you will look back and understand every piece. Each pain will make sense. Each weight will have been worth it. Isaiah 54 verse 17. No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, none. Not the weapon of humiliation, not the weapon of contempt, not the weapon of financial mockery, not the weapon of envy disguised as a joke. None. Because he who protects you does not sleep, does not slumber, and is not distracted. And whoever attacks you sooner or later trips over their own trap. Now I'm going to close with something that will remain engraved in your memory for a long time. Remember that person who humiliated you. The one who made you feel like less, who made you question your value, who made you lie in bed at night asking God why life was so unfair. Well, I want you to know they will look for you. It may not be tomorrow, it may not be next month, but it will happen. They will need something that only you can offer. It could be a favor, it could be support, it could be just a word of comfort when their life turns upside down. And on that day, you will have a choice. And the choice you make at that moment will define the next chapter of your spiritual story. It will define whether the cycle repeats or whether it breaks. It will define what kind of legacy you leave. I am not going to tell you what to do. You already know, because whoever was molded by pain knows the value of compassion. Whoever has been on the ground knows how important it is for someone to extend a hand. And that is exactly what differentiates you from the one who humiliated you. You do not want revenge, you want justice. And justice is already in progress. It has already been decreed. It is already being executed. You just need to continue firm. Before you leave this video, I need to tell you one more thing. Everything you heard here was not by chance. Each word was directed to this exact moment of your life. God uses different instruments to speak to each person, and today this video was the instrument chosen to speak to you. If your heart is beating faster now, if an emotion that you do not control has taken over your chest, it is because something within you recognizes this truth, and recognizing is the first step to acting. There is a mission over your life. A mission that involves the protection of your family, the restoration of what was lost, and the conquest of what is yet to be yours. That is why I prepared the powerful digital book for you. Manual of the Chosen by God to Protect the Family. This material will guide you with clarity on the path that is opening now before your eyes. The link is in the description of this video and in the pinned comments. Access it now, at this moment, before the flame that is lit within you cools down. And if this video touched your heart, if any word here made your eyes water, leave your like, subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, and comment below, "My hour has come." This comment is not just a phrase, it is your response to the calling that brought you here. It is your yes before what God has prepared for your life. We will see each other in the next video. And remember, the one who humiliated you planted their own fall. The one who persevered with faith will reap their own glory. God is with you, he always was. And the financial karma of the one who despised you is already in progress. It is not a matter of if, it is a matter of when, and the when is now.